Hi everyone, it's Galvan here, and today I'm going to give you my opinion of this. This is the NeoGeo X. This is actually the Gold Limited Edition. It's a device released by Tomo in partnership with SNK to celebrate the 20th anniversary of the NeoGeo. It's actually a handheld device, but the box is stylised to look like the original NeoGeo back when it was released. And it's very similar, and I think Tomo have done a great job reproducing that look and feel. Obviously, being a NeoGeo unit, you don't just get one box, you have your outer box and then you have two other boxes which are inside. They both, again, it just shows the level of detail that Tomo have done to try and recreate the original NeoGeo hardware. Now, before I go to the actual hardware itself, just go through what accessories and extras you get. You get your multilingual guide, which tells you how to use the system, how it runs. You also get your AC adapter. Now this is a dual voltage, multi-voltage 100 to 240 volt power supply with a 5 volt out and 1500 milliamp on the output. It's a normal rounded jack, and what you get on the version I've got, which is a European one, I've got a UK plug and also a European plug, which are changeable. You have two ways of connecting your system to your TV. You have the composite lead, which is the red, white and yellow connections, which you can plug into either the cradle or the handheld itself, or you have HDMI lead. This is actually a full-size HDMI to mini HDMI, and again that fits into the system or docking station. I would recommend using HDMI over the composite lead. The quality is better. Now it's better because the output's clearer, not because of the lead is an issue. It's still standard def, you don't have any upscaling like that. It's just that there seems to be some issues with the composite output where they're not very well done, and the HDMI seems to have got better with the most recent firmware update. It's obviously the joystick, and this is designed to be just like an original NeoGeo stick. You have the standard micro switches, all the buttons, so you've got the micro switches on the joystick, select start buttons, and A through to D for the buttons. It's actually a USB cable. This is for connecting to the NeoGeo X. It will also connect to PlayStation 3s and for PC, so you can use it with MAME, but you can't use PC or PS3 controllers or sticks that are USB mounted with the NeoGeo. It feels nice. It's not overly heavy. It's got a good weight to it. It's got good rubber stoppers at the bottom of it. It feels like how the NeoGeo controllers felt when I last used one, which was a long time ago. I never really owned one, I just had a chance to play one. It's got a textured finish. It feels good design. Some people said they thought it felt a bit cheap, but as I say, from my memory, it feels just like the original NeoGeo controllers back in the day. Now this is the docking station, which is designed to look just like an original NeoGeo hardware. The cartridge slot doesn't work, it's just embellishment. On the top you've got a menu button, that's the same as one you have on the handheld for switching back to the main menu, so you can change games, as there are multiple games available. On the front you have your power switch, two USB ports, so you can connect two controllers, so you can play multiplayer games with this. When it's using the docking station, it's not link lead capable, you have to use the docking station and the two USB ports. There's also a catch on here for opening up. On the back you've got your power socket, your video out and your HDMI out for connecting up to the TV. Now if I flick the catch, it opens up. It's actually on a ratchet, so it opens up quite smoothly, and as you can see in there, there's the actual handheld itself docked in place. It's the inside in places is lined with felt. The handheld sits in there quite nicely, and it's kept safe from obviously any scraping or hitting that you might get from the docking station when it's closed. It does feel, again, it feels well built. I know some people have criticised it, but for a docking station to actually hold the console and do some little things with it, it feels like a really well made one, and say it does hold the game in. To remove or insert the console, all you do is you just slide it up and down, you pull it out, and as you can see there's the jacks that have actually been thread through from the front of the system. The AC one has actually changed to a USB at this point, a micro USB. Now they say when you go to put the system into the console to make sure it's turned off, this is because if you don't, then obviously this on top, this front facing power switch won't work properly, and the system won't know to start up in its docked mode and present the video to your TV rather than to the screen. Now this is the handheld console itself. It's actually a nice weight. It's about the same size as a PSP. It doesn't feel soft. It feels well built like the rest of the kit. It doesn't feel like you could break it easily. On the front you have your screen, and that is a 4.3 inch 16:9 display. You also have your controller, which makes a nice click noise, similar to what you would have on a NeoGeo Pocket. You also have your 4 face buttons. They are A, B, C, D. Not all games use all of them, and you will be told by the games themselves which ones will work. Then you have your start button, which is the same as the one on the joystick, for starting games and certain in-menu stuff. And also have a menu button, which if you press it, it will bring up a little menu during the game that will give you the opportunity to return to the menu and pick different games from the lists. There are games installed on it, and I'll give you a list of those a bit later. Or if you're back at the home screen, it will enable you to pick whether your AV output is PAL or NTSC. Also show you your firmware number and your serial number of your hardware. You also have your speaker outputs down here, and you also have 2 LEDs just in the corner, one to show you the power and one to show you the system's charging. On the bottom of the system you can see you've got your volume up and down buttons, as well as your contrast up and down buttons, as well as a headphone jack, obviously kite mark there. On the side here you have your power switch and SD card slot. Now this is the top of the system, and you have your micro USB there. That is for charging the unit when it's put in the docking station, also for the control and connecting it to the joysticks when they're plugged in the docking station. You have your AV socket, which is just a straight pass through if it's plugged in when it's from the cradle, so it just passes that straight through and out the back, so you can use it when the system's not docked. And the same with your HDMI lead, again it will work docked or not docked. You've also got 4 buttons, 2 L buttons, 2 R buttons. These aren't actually used in any of the games, they're actually used purely for the system itself and operating the system. What you have is your L1 button. That will actually switch between your 16:9 and 4:3 view when you're using it as a handheld. The L2 button changes the video display when you've got it docked. It won't do anything when it's not docked, and it kind of tries to add scan lines. It actually makes it look a little bit worse or better depending which one you switch to. Your R buttons, your R1 is your pause button, and your R2 is actually a speed button. If you press it once in normal play, it will start playing at 1.3 times the speed, and if you press it again it runs at 1.5 times speed, and then finally it will just revert back. The back of the system, it's a almost like corrugated texture feel. It's rubberized with the SNK logo on there. Again, it feels nice. It feels like it gives you a good bit of grip, and it runs quite well on it. Now, just turned it on. As you can see, there's the blue power light there, just turned on. Now, I've turned the display up to maximum on the brightness, so you can see it. It's quite a good screen for actually looking. I mean, I wouldn't want to be a person standing beside someone to watch it, but definitely for using it to just go through the playing games on your own, it's good. Enough backlight for you to see it in bright light, and I had no problem doing that when I've had to use it outside, and it works well when it's dark. There's 20 games installed. These are Free Count Bout, Fatal Fury, League Bowling, Puzzled, Alpha Mission 2, Fatal Fury Special, Magician Lord, Real Bout Fatal Fury Special, Art of Fighting, King of Fighters 95, Metal Slug, Samurai Showdown 2, Baseball Stars 2, King of Monsters, Mutation Nation, Super Sidekicks, Cyber Lip, Last Resort, NAM 1975, and World Heroes Perfect. You also limited gold edition. You also get a copy of Ninja Masters. Along with my NeoGeo, I also brought this. This is the NeoGeo X Mega Pack Volume 1. They actually also do it as 5 separate packs of 3 games, and this is actually shaped like the original NeoGeo box. It's quite a big box. It looks far too big than what you expect for an SD card. It has the clasp on it, and once you open it up, you then have inside, you have a manual. You also have a upgrade manual, and you have the rocket cable, which is for upgrading the firmware, and also charging system. You can plug the AC adapter into that to charge it if you don't want to charge it off of the docking station. You have your game, a standard SD card, and you have this bit here. Now this is actually a hole for you to put your NeoGeo, so you can actually use the case as a transportation for it, so you can keep it safe while you're moving it around. Games you get in total in it are Art of Fighting 3, Blazing Star, Blues Journey, Gallery Mark of the Wolves, King of Fighters 96, Kizzen Encounter, The Last Blade, Metal Slug 2, Samurai Shodown 3, Savage Rain, Sengoku, Shock Troopers, Super Sidekicks 3, Top Hunter and World Heroes 2 Jet. Now, I think this is a great little handheld for people who've maybe never experienced NeoGeo, or people who had used NeoGeo in the past, or just looking for a portable system to take around with you. However, I do have a couple of negatives about it now. When I received mine, it had been upgraded to the latest firmware by the company called Funstock, and I'll put a link to their website in the description, which is great, but obviously some people will sell them without the firmware upgrade. And to upgrade the firmware, you need to buy one of the game volumes, because it comes with the only way getting hold of the rocket cable and the firmware, which I think is a little bit weird. You should be able to get firmwares as part of the upgrade process, just not needing to buy a pack of games for it. But I suppose unless you're going to use these games, you shouldn't really need the firmware, which should work fine. That said, when I got mine, that actually kept crashing over and over again. Every game I launched, it just would run for a couple of minutes and crash, varying times, a couple of minutes to probably about 20 minutes. Now I looked around and I found a NeoGeo X forum, and I'll put a link to them in the description as well, and they suggested formatting the temporary partition. There's a small amount of memory, about a gig, that is committed to loading the ROMs into the space. Now that is actually something you can do by connecting to a PC. It just acts as normal mass storage. It's FAT32 format. I just went and formatted that, and since then I've had no problems at all, and I've played it a lot more than I was when it was crashing. Not had any issues at all. Now, my other issue with the NeoGeo X is that I own every game that has been released on it and will be released on it, and for a handheld that's been out for just over a year, so that's not really brilliant. This is because of SNK weren't happy with the final handheld, and they've turned around and asked Tomo to not make any more. Tomo are currently fighting back under the contract they have, saying it runs till 2016, and obviously by then it won't be renewed. So as far as it comes, unless they do release some more games, which is looking very unlikely, I definitely suggest looking for someone who is selling it, who's like one of the official distributors for it. Most of the time they will look after you if there's any problems. They may even supply it with an updated firmware from the off. Also, if you're going to get one, I would say find someone who's doing a bundle deal that gives you the mega pack and the system. Funstock are actually selling the complete set, what I picked up, for the same price as actually doing the X on its own, as the X Gold pack on its own, which is around about £125. If you want to subscribe to the channel, please do. If you want to follow me on Twitter, it's the username Galban. I am working on the website and I will get around to it at some point. Hopefully I'm going to do more videos in the future, because I really want to get back into doing them. So apart from that, see you later.